becoming an entrepreneur was something that I never ever thought of in my entire life. It was not something that was planned, but it happened because I discovered a problem that I could finally call mine. For the first time in my life, I feel like somebody didn't hand over the problem to me to solve, but I discovered it and I chose to solve it, and that is how my journey of entrepreneurship began. Hi everyone, my name is Pradnya and welcome back to Unfiltered Reveries. So, in today's episode, I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey as an entrepreneur. Not how it started and all those things. I think I'll have a separate episode for that because I really feel I'm not there yet where I can talk about how I was inspired to become an entrepreneur because I'm myself still figuring it out what it is to be an entrepreneur. Pradnya the entrepreneur, what it is, I don't know yet. However, I'm going to talk about certain aspects of being an entrepreneur which I personally absolutely did not even imagine I will face when I started this journey. So, what do you think of when you think of becoming an entrepreneur? The finances. Then you think of whether I have an idea or not. Then you think of whether I'll be able to implement it or not. And then you're like, I will invest this much money in, let's say, manufacturing, and this much in logistics, and then this much in designing if you're starting a clothing brand. And yes, I think I can figure things out, a bit of marketing, and yeah. And I thought that is the plan, that is like the blueprint. Oh my God, little did I know that before I even let my passionate, creative, visionary juices flow, I will be bombarded and humbled and, in a way, slapped at with so many problems that are so absolutely out of control. I was surprised that not many talk about it, or at least you don't discover people talking about it till you actually dive deep into it, and then maybe your Instagram algorithm will know that you're facing this and then start showing you that content. But before that, never. That's why I don't want to make a video today about, hey, so this is how I started, this is what you need to do. I think everybody has enough of that, everybody knows that. But today we'll be talking about some of the most unexpected problems that I faced as an entrepreneur. And yes, of course, as usual, there's learning associated with everything that I'm going to talk about. But it has altered my life, both personal and professional, and me individually as a human being in ways that um, I think it is not easy to live with me right now. So all credit to my husband. But it has humbled me and it has helped me learn a lot. So let's get started. So the first thing that, I think is very common across a lot of entrepreneurs, especially the ones that are bootstrapped, handling most things on their own, don't really have a big team, are just getting started off, and do not have somebody to talk to as such, because nobody in my family or in my friends, like in my close network, is an entrepreneur. So the one thing that I think an entrepreneur constantly feels is that they are just not able to switch off their brain. Be it a weekend, be it a weekday, be it 12 o'clock at night, be it 1 o'clock at night, I have just not been able to switch off my brain. It's not like there is a problem that I need to face. There's this huge presentation that I have tomorrow that I need to prepare for. Like we have when we're working in corporate. There's a huge thing that's presenting to some huge people, and you just can't sleep. It's not really like that. So even though being an entrepreneur gives you the freedom of controlling things a little bit, you can reply when you want. Nobody is going to scold you. But I think because of that, because there's no timeline, there's no like schedule as such, your brain just does not switch off. You're constantly thinking and you cannot stop thinking. And also, the minute sometimes I stop thinking or don't address a problem, I'm like, it's a Sunday, let me give myself a break. Nobody's working anyway, right? But then I'll get into this guilt mode of not working, and I'll tell myself, at least you should do your part. You are working, you can work even if other people are not. And then comes the guilt along with, why am I not thinking about it, why am I not trying to solve it? So it's a very weird activity that goes on in the brain of constantly thinking about something. And even though I want to switch off and I try to switch off, there's still this thing in the back of my head that is constantly thinking about the next problem to solve. Or of course, at any given point of time, there are 10 problems that I have that are ongoing, but I don't have to solve them right now, I can take a while. But still, the brain just never completely switches off. And the minute it switches off, you kind of start to feel guilty. Another thing which I think has been a little stressful for me coming from corporate um, is that every decision that I make is mine. Of course, I consult people, I ask my friends or my family for their suggestions, but at the end of the day, I am building a brand, and they will also say that, it's your decision at the end of the day. You know it, you know best. But this side of me, this creative side of me, sometimes takes over too much, and I get into this cycle of confusion. And it's weird, it's like I start with an idea, and let's say I have shortlisted a certain design, like two, three designs I have to make for the next collection, and I will love them today. But then I go back to them tomorrow and I'll be like, what was I thinking? And it's like, this just doesn't feel right. This is not what, I want to make. Why did I shortlist this in the first place? And this, the fact that I have to make the decision sometimes gives me a bit too much of freedom, I feel. And also, because I have the flexibility of time a little, it can be good and bad. Good because I can revisit it tomorrow, look at it with a fresh eye, and say that this is not what I want. But at the same time, not good because sometimes the more time you have, the more you tend to maybe get confused or spiral out of control, especially when it's a creative decision to make. It's a design, and what elements can I add to, let's say, a dress to make it even better. And in that process of trying to come to a decision, sometimes, although I'm getting better, sometimes I tend to lose track of the finances or the cost that will go into making a certain design. That has happened to me. And that's why I think I'm trying to find this balance of, okay, this is my decision, but you have to make it keeping everything else into consideration. And I'm learning that slowly, but I will not deny that, yes, sometimes it leads to so much of confusion that I just wish sometimes that I could just hand it over to somebody else. Well, not really, but yeah, just for a minute, I wish that. And also, I think this uh, power that you have to make your own decisions also leads to this question, which is, am I doing enough? Am I doing it okay? Am I doing it right? So, of course, in entrepreneurship, there is no right or wrong, right? It's really open, it's an open ocean, and you can go in any direction and can land in a place which is so unexpected and beautiful. But at the same time, uh, as human beings, we need some kind of somebody or some system to help us know if we are moving in the right direction. In corporate, we have 6 monthly or yearly reviews, and people review us, and we get to know how we are doing, what are the uh, strengths, what are the weaknesses, where can we get better, and what are the things that we should definitely continue to do, what are the things that we need to change, etc. There's a lot that is there, and sometimes it's too much, but still, everything at the end of the day, you have it, and you have this entire sheet that you can use to get better or change the direction of your career the way you want. But here, that really doesn't happen. The only win that I think entrepreneurs feel is when a customer is directly either purchasing your product or using your service. And if they don't return it, in the case of a product, you feel really good. If they appreciate you, send you a message, You feel amazing, but it was one order, and you're building a brand, and you feel happy for a while, but then the minute you start to feel happy, you're like, no, 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 there's like 10 other things to do. There's like next customer, the customer hasn't received, so don't be happy about this customer appreciating you, because there's this next one who hasn't received the parcel yet. You need to figure that out, and there's this whole, like, you don't have time to appreciate yourself even when you find these words of appreciation from people. And that is a very, I don't like that it's like you have to be deprived of appreciation and happiness till you are successful. And what is successful, I don't know. I don't think anybody ever knows. I think even some of the biggest brands still feel like they haven't done enough. So there's no end to this. And that sometimes really makes me wonder that 10 years later, even if I do make a good enough brand, will I actually be satisfied? Will I give myself a break? Will I actually take a compliment or an appreciation? I don't know. I really hope I can. And these are some things which happen, which can start early on, but as you dive a little deeper into becoming more serious about your brand and becoming more serious about actually delivering good things to customers, of course, a lot of times, a lot of screw ups happen. There will always be an unhappy customer. There will always be some vendor who, because of whatever reason, you have clashes with. Um, there will always be fights in the process of running a business, fights with people that you have never met, uh, fights with people who have no idea who you are and you don't know who they are. And when that happens, sometimes it hurts. It hurts personally. Not sometimes, every time for me, although I'm really trying to separate the business aspect of things from feeling personally bad about it. But it happens. So fortunately for me, with customers, it hasn't happened so much. I mean, it has actually not happened, other than delays and them being a little disappointed with the delay of the delivery. It's not happened to me, but it has definitely happened with my manufacturers, my vendors. Some were genuinely not good. Some were genuinely people that you don't want to work with. If the kind of person that I am, I don't want to work with them unless I know the ins and outs and everything about business. I don't want to work with people who are difficult to work with. A lot of people are very talented in India, I must say that. Even people with the biggest of egos, the reason why they have an ego, I get it, but it's not good to have an ego, because then there are people like, me, who are totally new and who are, a lot of people are becoming entrepreneurs, right? A lot of new people are coming, first generation, uh, from their entire family to get into business. So I think somewhere I have a bit of a, I cannot deal with such people, because I feel like, hey, I can only take so much, and with the other 10 problems that I'll be facing with the 10 other aspects of my business, I don't want to take up something long term that is going to hurt me even more. But it happens. And even with the best of the people, the best of the manufacturers, best of the vendors, everybody has a bad day. And there will come a time when you are having a very bad day, they are having a very busy or a bad day, and then there will be a clash. And when that happens, I personally, as a new business owner, and making clothes, which are so dependent on manufacturing, if something like that happens, it absolutely crushes me into pieces, and I start to question my entire existence. Like, what are you doing? And I've gotten a lot better in the last 2.5 years with letting it go, saying that it's a bad day. But um, it is difficult, especially when there is lot which is dependent on trust, not so much on systems. There's still no paperwork in place, and there's still no, accountability, still less. But when that happens, so I'm like, okay, now I fought, but I needed to fight. I have to fight. This is a business I'm running. This is not like, some favor that we are doing to each other. But then the minute I fight and I hang up the phone, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna lose this person. And I have to find someone again, all over again, and go through the whole mental trauma again of not finding anybody, getting, people hanging up in my face and all that stuff. You know, I just start to spiral out of control just for the fact that I had a disagreement or a fight with one of the vendors. So it's very unpredictable. And I think that, it will take me a long time to completely separate that business from not feeling personally something. And I always want to have this human touch to my business. Otherwise, I think that, eventually a good business is built very much on trust also, even if there are hundreds of systems in place. So I do want to have that. But again, finding that, like that compartmentalizing that this was a business issue and this is not something that defines you as a person, that defines you as an entrepreneur or defines Perfect Eat as a brand. It's not like that. So to come to that is difficult, and it hurts a lot. There are days when cannot, I don't feel like eating because I'm like, lost everything. I won't say it's an over dramatic reaction. It's a very genuine reaction, uh, because it takes a lot to get started again. So that's a process in itself. And it's not easy to get up every single time. Sometimes you really feel like giving up, but you shouldn't. Um, but it's a very challenging aspect for me to deal with, that not take any kind of fight or something that someone says to me or a criticism personally. And in spite all of this, I would still say that it is totally worth it. Not in the very typical traditional, oh, it's so worth it, I have my freedom, I have my this, I have my that. That I think that is partly true, but I think every person is different. Because I started working on solving this problem, which led me to become an entrepreneur, I learned a lot about myself. And I have also worked for a while in corporate. So I had this little bit of whatever corporate experience I have, that to, you know, understand myself. So I know the corporate side of me and the problems I had there. But when I went into entrepreneurship, I learned so much about me that uh, I think even like 6, 7 years of corporate would not make me learn that much about myself as a person as much as I did in the last 2.5 years. And I feel that it is, first of all, very important to understand what kind of person you are, what kind of problems do you like to solve, what kind of environment and ecosystems do you like to work in. And I discovered that I'm someone who loves to work alone. I know that's not a positive. I have to eventually have a team and I need that. But I think a good business, probably, some of the best businesses have come from this one person who has worked really hard into creating some goals for that business, which he or she worked really hard towards achieving, even with a team in place. Till you have those goals clear in your head, you cannot, even with 100 people around you, work towards an undefined goal. So I think getting into starting my own business has really helped me to understand what are the goals in my life, not just related to business, but because of the business goals, I was able to define my personal goals also in my life. And that is why I think that running a business is worth it for me, because I know that I cry about problems. I know that I absolutely hate myself some days. I absolutely hate the situation. But I never hated my brand. I never hated whatever I've created till now. And it is barely anything. It's barely anything. I have so much more to do. I never hated that. I never said that I want to quit Perfect Eat. I said that a lot in corporate, but I never said that about Perfect Eat. I did say that I don't want to deal with anything right now. I did say that I need a break of like 2, 3 days. I did say that I cannot work with this particular vendor. I did say that um, I have no one to support me or nobody understands me. I did say all those things, but never did I say that I want to quit Perfect Eat. Never did I say that I'm not proud of all the things that I've done till now. And I think that speaks a lot to me as a person, because I'm an extremely critical person of myself. And if I'm not saying that, that means that I have moved a few steps ahead. And that means a lot to me. Um, at the end of the day, even if I complain, I know that I am the business owner. I know that that decision is mine to make. And I think that um, I like that freedom over all the appreciation which we get in corporate, all the hikes we get in corporate. Um, I don't miss that. I absolutely have total respect for people who are doing well in corporate. I mean, my husband works in corporate and I see him working every day, but he is such a different personality than I am. And I totally have respect for those people as well. But me as a person, uh, I want to solve this problem. I want to keep on finding different ways to solve a problem. Even if one door closes, I'm always up to find another one. Yes, I'll cry. Yes, I'll not work for a day. I'll whine for a day. I'll just sit in bed and probably watch Friends for a day. But I want to find that next door if one door closes. And I will never stop finding the next door if one door closes on me. And I think that is why I feel that for me, being an entrepreneur is just something that I want to be and continue to do. And yeah, it's worth it for me. And I hope that if anybody out there is hoping to become an entrepreneur one day or wants to or is not sure, just first of all sit with yourself and ask some questions to yourself. Don't ask like, what idea, finance, do you know data, you're good with numbers. Those are not relevant things. You have people that you can outsource all that to these days, but it's you who's going to build the brand. It's one person, especially when if you're a, you know, nobody is there in your family who's been in business and you're going to start something from scratch. It's you. So you need to first understand yourself. You need to understand your personality. You need to be someone who is a little obsessed with certain things but also understands when to let things go, not the dream go, but when to not to be obsessed with a particular design only, not to be obsessed with a particular uh, you know way of marketing only. Be obsessed with the goal that you have, yes, the idea that you have, the business idea that you have, but you should not be obsessed with the route that you take to achieve that goal. You have to, even if you have everything sorted, 5 year plan ready, you will have to change your route so many times during the journey. You'll have to literally create a road for yourself, and um, you have to be okay with it. And I am again only a 2.5 years old into entrepreneurship, but uh, if anybody wants to start, I think this is where they need to ask the questions. I don't want to share my success stories once I'm, if I become successful. I want people to know it now. Better share it sooner than later, because I think that there is so much of learning that happens every single day, that it is definitely something which should be shared with people so that they can make an informed decision and be happy with the decision that they make. So that's it for today's episode, guys. Hope that you enjoyed it. And if you did, please like this video and please subscribe to my channel. It will mean a lot to me. So I guess that's it. That's all I wanted to share. Hope that everybody took a little something out of today's episode, whether you want to pursue entrepreneurship or not. I hope you took a little something away. And take care of yourselves. Have a great week ahead. And I will see you guys next Sunday. Till then,